Well, why isn't Destiny revolutionary? Because not every game can reinvent the wheel. It's a pretty simple answer to a pretty strange question. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Force, and today I'd like to talk with you about video games and being revolutionary, or why aren't more games revolutionary, or where this expectation comes from is a point I'd really like to drive home. But this happens quite often whenever we see a new title released. In fact, specifically for me, someone who likes to cover the new MMOs as they're going into alpha, beta, and then eventually release. I see this every time I cover a new MMO, or every time a new shooter comes out. They say, this game is exactly like this game in the genre. And people seem upset or confused as to why titles aren't bringing a ton of new stuff to the table all the time. And I'd sort of like to talk about that expectation. So first and foremost, let's set the stage. What games have been revolutionary? Well, of course, there's a whole slew of titles that you could point to and reasons for being revolutionary that you could discuss. I'd like to just give a few examples that sort of come off the top of my head. Now, that's not to say that these titles I'm about to mention were the first to do certain things, but maybe they were the ones to bring it to the forefront and make it the most mainstream. So let's talk about some revolutionary games in the past. A title like Half-Life sort of revolutionized storytelling in FPS games. Prior to Half-Life, FPS were pretty straightforward. You were a badass and you were shooting bad guys, and it was pretty simple. But to have in-depth storytelling to the level of Half-Life was something that was sort of brand new for the genre. I could say the Halo series was revolutionary in the console shooter space. I mean, Halo is really what set the tone for the modern day console shooter. And World of Warcraft, revolutionary in the sense that it streamlined MMORPGs. Yes, MMOs and everything that WoW did existed prior. They just packaged it in a much more, user-friendly and consumable manner than what we had seen in the past. We, of course, have got games that revolutionized entire genres, like Wolfenstein 3D, the first-person shooter ever released. There were first-person games prior to that. I believe there's one that was actually like an arena-based magic game, but in terms of the first FPS, Wolfenstein 3D stakes the claim there. We've got Grand Theft Auto as a first really completely free-roaming game with moving out on foot and into vehicles and all sorts of stuff. And then, of course, Minecraft, one of the obviously most successful free-form building games. It was not the first game to do what it does, but it brought it to the mass market in an interesting way, in a nice package. So revolutionary titles, those were just a handful. You could argue with some of my points. You could come up with, I'm sure, a list of many others. But the point is, revolutionary games are few and far between. And there are so many games released all the time that I think the expectation for every game to be revolutionary, even in some sense, is a little bit ridiculous. You know, every time I put up a video about this game, I inevitably in the comments section get the comparisons to, this game is just like Halo, this game is just like Borderlands, this game is just like Call of Duty, this game it's like the setting of Mass Effect. And you know, it's a conglomeration of various things and various titles and various themes, but I think what's important is sort of how that package is put together. Now, you can certainly have issues with a game, you can have issues with any new title, you can have issues with Destiny, but to be upset that a game isn't breaking the mold, it's just tough. I mean, do we expect every book, do we expect every movie released to be a completely brand new thing that we've never seen before? That expectation seems ridiculous, especially with the volume of titles that come out. We have numerous AAA titles and even more indie titles. Every week we're getting brand new indie titles, like a lot of them. It's not like we're just getting like one a week. There's just so many new games being released all the time, and for anyone to have an expectation that every game is going to do something brand new that we've never thought of before, it's just a little bit ridiculous. Not every game can break the mold, and to think or expect that, I don't understand. Now, I'm not sitting here saying I'm trying to give any game a free pass and saying you can be lazy and just copy all the ideas from games before, but I think we should not always expect something that we've never seen before, but ideally we should expect games to iterate improve and polish over time, to have a good experience, even if it is just a conglomeration of things we've seen in the past, like admittedly Destiny is, you know? It's taking a lot of bits and pieces from titles that have come before it, and especially the development studio itself. Yes, they're taking the lessons that they learned in making numerous Halo titles, and they're bringing it into this other sci-fi shooter, but they're also mixing in elements of RPG and a loot system, and, you know, having these characters with these special abilities and spells and effects. And they've really, from what I played in the beta, which was only a week, but from what I played in the beta, yes, there are concerns and you could point out issues, but it's all around a very fun game to play. Of course, if you're someone who only likes shooter games on the PC, number one, I don't blame you, but, you know, this sort of is a non-starter. If you just don't like console shooters, then obviously you don't like this game, period. But if you like console shooters, if you've enjoyed console shooters in the past, if you enjoyed the Halo series, this is a game that's really put, from what I played so far, you know, it's releasing next week, and I'll give you my final opinions after I've played probably a couple hundred hours. But it's fun to play. It's just fun to play. That's all there is to say. Now, you know, when it comes to Revolution, something I want to really drive home, and especially with a big title like Destiny, with what we're seeing here. When it comes to looking for revolutionary titles, you should not be looking at a game that's coming from Activision. You should not be looking at large AAA titles with huge budgets behind them, because you know what? It is very, very unlikely that a large AAA title from a big publisher, from a big developer, is going to completely break the mold. There's too much at stake. Companies want a sure thing. That's why we see gamers complain about Call of Duty being nearly the same every year, but they keep releasing it, and it keeps selling like hotcakes. It's because they know it's just a sure thing. Obviously, over time, it'll dwindle, just like WoW subs are going down and down as the years go on, as is expected. But they want more or less a sure thing, and to expect something brand new, something we've never thought of before, from a large studio, from a large publisher, it's just not going to happen. Which is exactly why Star Citizen was crowdfunded. There you go. Star Citizen was crowdfunded. They're trying to do something new and fresh. They're trying to bring back the hardcore space sim, but in the next generation. And they couldn't get anyone to give them money, so they went to the people. So that they could do exactly what they wanted without any restrictions, without a publisher looming over them and saying, well, this isn't going to appeal to the mass market if you do it like this, that, and the other thing. They wanted that freedom, and, you know, Bungie, like it or not, they've got a big publisher behind them that's probably not going to give them quite as much freedom as some people would hope for. And so you should keep that expectation as a result. And again, I'm not here, it's just such a weird situation. I'm not here trying to defend games not coming up with new ideas and fresh things and things that we might hope for. But it's just to sort of say, are you surprised? Because I'm not. I'm not. I pretty much got what I expect out of Destiny. Now, hopefully they have enough content to hold me over. But again, the gameplay, it's fun to play. It's got a loot system, which I enjoy. It's a game that I'm able to play with my friends, the friends that I played Halo with in college, and that's just, for me, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great experience. Well, is it going to hold my attention a month from now? I don't know. Maybe not. Probably not. I usually don't play games for more than a few weeks because there's so many new games coming out that I always want to play. But again, I just wanted to take a little bit of time to touch on the topic of games being and or not being revolutionary, and why I do think it is ridiculous for us to expect every game to do something brand new. That's just how I feel. That's just my honest opinion. I always hope for good games. I want games to be fun to play, of course, but do I expect every game to be the next World of Warcraft, to be the next Minecraft, to strike lightning and just blow up? And I don't. And I think it's unreasonable to expect it. I want good things, of course I want new things. I can't wait to play No Man's Sky. But I don't expect every game to be No Man's Sky, and I'm surprised anyone does. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's little rant video. Hopefully you enjoyed this discussion. I'm sure plenty of people will be either in support and or furious at some of the things that I have to say. Either way, happy to read your comments in the comment section below. So let me know what you guys think about this topic or anything that I may have completely missed, because hey, I'm just a person. I miss things, and maybe I said something stupid. I probably did say something stupid. Hope you guys have a good afternoon. I will see you next week for a bunch of Destiny coverage. I'm going to be jumping in with my friends. I really can't wait to play. Man, I had so much fun during the beta. I'm going to enjoy this week. It's going to be a fun week. So you'll see some Destiny coverage from me. Have a fantastic afternoon. I will see you tomorrow. Keep watching and keep owning.